Hey, hello, everyone. This is Dr. Garrett Smith, also known as the nutrition detective around these here YouTube parts. And we have a fun show for you today, episode 221 without a miss. And we're going to go over one of the things that always kind of confused me was, or that just didn't make sense to me, was black seed oil or black cumin seed oil and how it was claimed to be the cure to all diseases. If you didn't know that, yes, that is one of the claims to fame of black seed oil. First, although I'm going to go through some testimonials. We have 4 testimonials that we've accumulated, and they're pretty awesome. So we're going to go through those first. Joe put the link to the Google Doc. If you want to read them, you can. We don't put people's names on them because, medical privacy and all that stuff. One of them's on Twitter. And obviously that person put it out for the world to see. The other ones, if you ever want to find them, if you're in the Love Your Liver program, they're in the Love Your Liver program and you can see who posted them. But when I bring them out to the public, we leave their names out because it's a private network. So if people are posting in there, they know who's seen it, but I'm not going to put it out on the big interwebs. So let us get into that. Oh, Joe, I didn't share my thing yet. So let me go and do that. Go, and then hold on, that's not the right one. Go here. There we are. Let's do that one. Okay, so here we go. First testimonial. This is from someone I forget. Oh yeah, so 2 years into the Love Your Liver program. Here we go. A lipid panel comparison, or as they call it, the cholesterol and triglycerides labs. The lipid panel comparison almost 2 years into the Love Your Liver program. April 2023 versus September 2025. She hoped I would read it. So here we go. Before and after. So the first one is the before and the second one is the after. Now, I want everyone to understand here, cholesterol is a much more complex topic. Cholesterol is a marker of how toxic somebody is. Cholesterol is actually, your body binds toxins to it, particularly the LDL. That's why it's the bad cholesterol. That's why it's associated with bad things. So your body will, if it is able to, it will make more cholesterol when you are more toxic. What everybody can't figure out, so why would they associate higher cholesterol with more problems? Because the higher your cholesterol, the more toxic you are, and then you see the problems come together. It's not that the cholesterol is the bad thing. The cholesterol is actually a protective thing. Now, the other thing, for those of you who might have really low cholesterol, a really low cholesterol that isn't earned by detox is a sign of a sick person. Kind of like chronically underweight people actually die earlier than obese people, and people with really low cholesterol that they didn't earn is a bad sign. Their liver is not making cholesterol. They're not protecting themselves. Kind of like an undertype, skinny person, a chronically underweight person is not making body fat to store their toxins in, so more of it's floating around their system. Okay, so we gotta understand that high cholesterol is not good, but high cholesterol is better than unearned low cholesterol. Somebody who earns low cholesterol by doing the right things, that is good, and their health will reflect that. Okay, so it's more complex than you think, but we don't try to fix cholesterol. This is a very important thing. We don't try to do this. It just happens. The body does it as it is less toxic. Okay, so total cholesterol before 341, that's high. My highest was like 280. After close to 2 years, we got a 229. Triglycerides, 237. And then we have a number of 58. Now I want you to understand, I did an article. Maybe I'll go find it. Joe, I'm just going to pull up that link real quick. You don't have to worry about showing it. I'm going to go and find, so triglycerides, actually, just so you know, if I've shown this before, but I'm going to show my link here to my old research article. Copy the link. I'm going to post it in the chat. So I'll show it here. So if you guys go to my old research forum, Joe can put that link up. We put it up at the end of the show. There is quite a bit of research where they show that if they simply give vitamin A, if you can see this right here, vitamin A induced hypertriglyceridemia, high triglycerides in the blood in cholesterol-fed rats. So Vitamin A I go through all these papers where they talk, basically giving vitamin A raises your triglycerides. Okay. So we see detoxing vitamin A lowers triglycerides by quite a bit. Her HDL, the quote unquote good cholesterol, was 89 before, which was good. And it went down to an 81 afterwards. However, what I want to show here is one of the other labs they look at is the cholesterol to HDL ratio. You want this to be, higher HDL to lower total cholesterol. So you want the ratio to be lower. So she went from a 3.8 to a 2.8 because her HDL went down just a little and her total cholesterol went down by a third. LDL cholesterol, 206 down to 138. This is important. LDL is your really big marker of toxicity. My highest LDL I think I ever saw was about what hers was, about a 200, 202, something like that. And the non-HDL cholesterol, just a variation on the sort of like the LDL, but it includes the VLDL and all that stuff. 252 down to 148. So down by almost 100 points. What does she have to say about her friends? My alternative brainwashed friends in the industry are now asking me about the program, where before they thought I was nuts going off vitamin A, vitamin D, and other protocols. This is what we do. This is fixing the liver. If you don't understand, this is fixing toxicity. This is fixing the liver. We don't have people try to eat more cholesterol. Like, why would you want to eat the detox products of another animal? Maybe that's not a great idea. Testimonial number 2. This is a 1-year testimonial. My main issue has always been fatigue. It started when I was about 16 and has slowly gotten worse over time. GI issues started about 2 years later. I'm now 36 and had to quit my job almost 2 years ago. I tried to trace the cause as far back as I could. I fortunately never received any jabs, but they still got me with mercury-containing eye drops, which were prescribed because I had a lazy eye as a child. Oh, man. Later, my parents got into health, of course, and they started to give me carrot juice every morning. After a while, they added spirulina, so toxic vitamin A and heavy metals combined. Finally, they heard you need fat to optimally absorb the vitamin A from carrots, so they added black seed oil. Hey, what a coincidence. We're going over that today. All highly recommended by an alternative health practitioner who was probably not well themselves. Eventually, my family went vegetarian. I was probably around 13, so plenty of animal vitamin A and not enough protein and zinc. That probably sealed my fate. I don't know if she means animal vitamin A or plant vitamin A here. I'm assuming she means plant vitamin A. That might have been what she meant there. Anyway, it didn't dawn on me that humans need meat until I was about 26, but adding back meat alone didn't fix anything, so I did what many of us did. I got into low carb, then keto, then fasting, then Weston Price. How many of us did this? And when that stopped working, carnivore. Every step of the way, I thought, okay, I finally figured it out. I'm losing weight and I'm starting to feel a little bit better. But it never lasted. We around here know that this is called the duration paradox. And this is what all the fad diets and all these things feed on. They need the honeymoon phase, but then it ends. This was very frustrating. I couldn't understand why I would always stop improving. Of course, now I know exactly what happened. I released the poison stored in my body fat and shoved them into my liver until my liver finally gave in. When I started carnivore and every time I was fasting, I would get diarrhea like crazy. This was very confusing. Now I know that I was merely dumping bile and nothing in my system was there to absorb it or adsorb it. But exactly. It is crazy to me that all the keto and carnivore world has to offer in this regard is to increase fat. And none of the functional medicine stuff for SIBO and IBS was any help whatsoever. What a joke. Finally, I was considering going raw carnivore since I seem to tolerate raw beef the best, but ultimately it hit me that this was getting absurd. I had enough, and so I just ate some bread. Consequences be damned. To my surprise, there were no consequences. I tolerated the bread just fine. Thank God I stopped carnivore before it changed my microbiome completely. For a while, I was very unsure of what to do next. Then I heard Dr. Smith on a podcast in August of last year and was immediately very intrigued. It didn't take long for me to realize that he was right about vitamin A being toxic, and I started the program soon after. Here is what happened. For one, I've had a dry spot between my eyebrows for years that cleared up almost immediately. I looked it up on the TCM, that's traditional Chinese medicine, face map, and that area between the eyebrows corresponds to the liver. That gave me confidence. Then nothing much happened for a couple months. Around December, I quit coffee. I never could drink more than 1 cup a day anyway, so quitting was not that hard. But then my detox must have really picked up, because after about a month without coffee, my GI symptoms and fatigue increased pretty substantially. So we can be sure I was dumping a lot more bile. I reduced my supplements, but it didn't stop. So this when you start dumping bile, like I don't want to go into that term here, but as you get healthier, I'm just going to expand on this for a second. As you get healthier, most of us are not making much bile. People talk about coffee causing a bile dump, okay, like coffee enemas and stuff like that. However, remember the duration paradox. If it does it in the beginning, over time, that effect will slow down and you will then make less bile. So this person stopped their coffee, and about a month later, they started making more bile again. Do you see how this works? Okay, so bowel stuff came back. This could be retracing. This could be all sorts of things. I could not get the diarrhea under control with charcoal alone. Fortunately, someone in the program told me about high-dose zeolite. Adding 30 grams of zeolite a day was an absolute game changer. Not only did it stop the diarrhea completely, at this point, I would say I no longer have IBS. I'm going to tell you guys the zeolite episode, zeolite with a Y, is our stuff. But zeolite is super helpful. Don't believe the paranoid fever dream, like PSYOPS stuff on the internet talking about zeolite being some weird part of the nano whatever's going on. It is just trash. Imagine how little money it would take to pay an alternative influencer just make up stuff that they give them. They just give them information to say. Ugh. The fact that they chose zeolite when zeolite is such a niche item that hardly anybody uses compared to everything else means that they know it's probably going to go against their plans. So they have to badmouth it early. Here we go. I consider this a major breakthrough since I was struggling with GI trouble for more than 10 years. Turns out it was just toxic bile. There are people out there saying zeolite is only harmful. I challenge people to find studies on that. Just fix this person's IBS. Crazy. The next breakthrough is already on the horizon because of MSG. After only a month on small amounts of MSG, my ability to do office work without complete exhaustion has already increased from under 1 hour to more than 4 hours. My mood has also improved, and even though MSG seems to increase alertness, I can fall asleep faster, and nightly bile dumps have started to ease up. Can't wait to increase my dose. All these things that people are saying are bad for you, right? This person quit, had to stop working. And now they are back doing office work for more than 4 hours. Okay, we help people get back to life. Other improvements: wet feeling and itchy ears almost disappeared. I know that feeling. Dry scalp greatly improved. Cracked heels improved. Keratosis pilaris a little improved. Your skin problems are vitamin A problems, folks. Not better yet. My stomach is still hard and distended, and fatigue is still pretty strong. Well, this is probably still the liver and the fat around the organs, yes, and fatigue is still pretty strong. Not everything gets fixed right away. This is a very important thing, folks. Just because you go on the Love Your Liver program doesn't mean everything just goes away. It doesn't mean you just start eating however you think the Love Your Liver program is. You have to still bring in things and do things based on where you are. We are fixing the problems. It doesn't mean you change your approach and the problems are fixed. So this is good. This person is understanding that they're making improvements and they have a ways to go. Okay, current routine. I get along with all the foods that are recommended on the program. My staples are chicken, oats, sourdough, and bananas, beef and beans a couple times a week. I'm on 200 milligrams of nicotinic acid, a little bit of charcoal, and loads of zeolite, as well as small amounts of various soluble fibers throughout the day. And of course, magnesium lotion. I'm taking a break from zinc and lactoferrin right now. Zinc seemed to stir up too much copper, and lactoferrin worsened nightly bile dumps. I will try again once I have some more glutamate in me. When I started the program, I could take big amounts of zinc without feeling anything. Then suddenly, even a small dose would cause sleeplessness. Okay. Anything can cause anything in anyone at any time. Anything can cause anything in anyone at any time. So this person is doing an extremely good job of listening to their body. So they were doing lots of zinc at the start. Somehow it isn't working for them right now. So they stopped. They realized that lactoferrin was too strong for them right now, causing too much bile dumping. So they stopped. They say they'll try again once they feel like a little more stable. This is very, very important. This person is doing the right things. This doesn't mean zinc is bad for them. It doesn't mean lactoferrin is bad for them. It means that it doesn't work for them right now. There will be people out there who will try to say that this program caused them problems when they didn't listen to their body. They didn't listen to my instructions, said over and over and over and over again about if you don't feel good on something, stop doing it. It doesn't seem like that difficult of a concept, but people in the health world will be like, well, Dr. Smith said beans are good. I don't feel great on beans, but I'm just going to keep eating them because Dr. Smith said they're good. And then they miss the part in the article where I say, if you don't feel good on beans, don't eat them. I don't know why this is so confusing, but people have this thing about wanting to like please the teacher or whatever. You know, they're what's the term I'm thinking of? People pleasers. Okay, folks, you don't get points for making yourself feel bad just because you think you're following the program better. You're actually getting negative points. Like I would, if you'd be like, well, I've been shoving all this stuff down that you say is good, but I don't feel good. I'd be like, why are you doing that? That's not what I said to do. You have to find out what works for you at that time. And this can change. So I'm starting to become more sensitive in a good way. Previously, I would try a supplement and not have any reaction, good or bad. Then several months later, I would feel a little worse and have no idea why. Now I can find connections pretty easily and I know what to do. This is actually really important. You guys have heard me talk about sledgehammer people. Like sledgehammer people where they don't seem to feel anything from anything they do. Okay? However, remember, a sledgehammer person is coming to see us because they don't feel good. So obviously they feel something, right? They do have the capacity to feel something because they don't feel good, and that's why they're here. It is up. So anything, there's a thing called exposure therapy, right? Which is the more you do something, the better you get at it. Now that can be for better or worse. So if you're doing this program and you're specifically trying to practice and get better at, do I feel better on this? Is this helping me feel better, or do I possibly feel worse on it? Like, remember, you're here because you don't feel good, so you do feel something. As you practice and as you try, as you attempt to become more in connection with your body and how it feels, you will get better at it. You may still never be great at it, but you can get better. That's what this person is showing. They are getting better at noticing what affects them for better or worse. You want to do this. You don't want to be hypersensitive, but you do want to be able to feel if something is good or bad for you. Okay, so for example, after 6 months of potassium supplementation without issues, one day I noticed my heart beating heavily, so I stopped the supplemental potassium and the problem went away the next day. Now I only do bananas and coconut water. Perfect. My experience matches exactly what is laid out in the Love Your Liver framework. This greatly increased my confidence in being on the right track. This never happened with anything else I've tried, and I've tried a lot. It's hard to overstate how unique this program is. It is truly stands alone. Looking forward to the improvements year number 2 will bring. We do things very differently, and not everybody can manage that mentally. People can't handle that I say, you might take zinc and you might not feel good. Yes, I'm suggesting that you try zinc. And if you don't feel good, don't take it. One of the biggest compliments I got from someone, she was actually a scientist, a chemist, a research chemist. And she was saying one of the best things about what we do here is I tell people, here's how things might go wrong. You're going to try this. Here's how things might go wrong. And if you notice this, stop. And she said her daughter was so sensitive to everything. Like you give her something that she doesn't agree with. I mean, the mom was like measuring out micrograms of things. Like she was a research chemist. She had a microgram scale. I don't know if microgram scales are like $10,000. So she had this. She was measuring out the tiniest bit of things. When she gave her daughter too much of things, it could affect her daughter for like a day and a half. So she was measuring it out. And I said, just if you have a problem with it, just keep taking it lower and lower and lower. And she did. And then finally, she would get to the point where she found that her daughter benefited. And then over time, her daughter got better. And then she was able to add to it. This is really, really important. Don't force yourself to take more stuff than you need or than your body wants. Okay. This is really, really important. Okay. So this is testimonial number 3. I'm going to go and open it up on Twitter. Okay. Here we go. So Brandon Treen, or Trean, I don't know how to say his last name, but I wanted to say that. This is an important one to pay attention to too. So I'm NutriDetect, right? He says, I've done your work on and off and had to abandon its full implementation when I went from 133.4 pounds down to 121.6 pounds. Your work didn't seem great for underweights like myself from a sustainability perspective, at least for something who has work demands at my capacity. I kept some of your principles in play, but had to add bacon in to keep weight. So we're dealing with an undertype, right? Undertypes are the most sensitive. They're the most, they can tend to lose weight if they don't get enough. Well, we talk about with unders getting more fat. This person chose to do fat via bacon. Okay. They were keeping some of the principles, which, okay, you don't have to do everything 100% all at once. And if there's something that's not working for you, like this gentleman did, he changed something. He was like, the whole thing isn't working for me, so I'm going to do this. Now, I do talk in the program about undertypes adding fat. I talk about that. So it still fits in with my principles. I'm tagging you as a testimony to MSG, though. I've been eating bacon, which I know you're not a fan of, but my weight kept steady at 129 pounds, which is an upgrade, and it seemed to be the only thing that agreed with my gut that kept me from losing weight. Okay, that's fine. Look, folks, starvation and wasting away are not good for you. So if he had to do this, okay. That's, we all have to make choices at the moment. And I can't lay out every single thing to do for every single person at every single moment, right? People have to figure some of these things out on their own. And this person did. Thought you'd find this interesting as another testimony to MSG. I felt a bit of a headache the first couple days, but afterwards that all corrected, and I do about a tablespoon with my bigger meat meal every day. MSG, glutamate. Folks, if you think you're MSG sensitive because you've eaten foods that you think have MSG in them, or they have other seasonings like autolyzed yeast extract or other stuff, if you have not eaten healthy foods with MSG, you don't know if you're sensitive to MSG or not. If you have foods that you tolerate and you put MSG powder on them, you're probably going to be okay. Now, the other thing we talk about in the MSG video is, and this person listened to, if you don't feel good at the start on the MSG, couple little headaches, okay? But you reduce your dose and you keep going. That will go away. And then you can take more and you will feel better. So, right, pay very close attention. Got a headache the first couple days. Kept taking it. Probably lowered his dose. He didn't mention that. But he probably lowered his dose like we suggested, because I know this person listens to the live stream and I know they follow instructions. And now they're doing a tablespoon of it. 3 teaspoons worth, which I think is the higher end of what I said to do in the MSG live stream. Okay, so let's keep going. I want to emphasize nothing, and I mean nothing, sustainably lets me gain weight without increasing inflammation other than this. I've been doing fruit for several months and even pounds of fruit, bananas mostly a day, and 2 to 4 pounds of red meat a day didn't raise my weight, which sounds impossible, I know. 2 to 4 pounds of red meat a day, pounds of bananas. They can't keep on weight. This is a classic under-type thing where people are shoving tons of food in themselves and they can't gain weight. Remember, the more food you shove in yourself, if you're not gaining weight, you're just giving your liver more work and you're not gaining weight. So he kept in some bacon, as he mentioned. Good on you for always experimenting. Tell Kelsey, thank you. I restarted listening to your work. P.S. I've confirmed copper toxicity in multiple labs as well. So this MSG might be particularly helpful for me because of MSG's helpful aid in detoxing copper. Okay. And I said here, yes, everything's more difficult for undertypes. Glad the MSG is making a difference. He made another comment. Yes, the MSG legit made the most difference, and I hope you use this in your testimonials on YouTube. Well, here we are. I really want to belabor the point that it is literally impossible for me to gain weight without inflammation other than the Modernist Pantry MSG Daily with a meat meal. That's a brand. Modernist Pantry is a brand that has been recommended. They say it tastes the best. I haven't had it myself. I'm still using up the stuff I have. And yeah, I do more than I think you guys suggest, but I see zero negative impact of that. A tablespoon a day is a lot, but that's fine. I at one point was eating about 4 pounds of red meat a day with added butter and still couldn't break past 129 pounds. I thought maybe the bananas would help with the weight, but no. What I'm curious about now is if I can make it to 140 pounds, because that would be the weight I was at when I was my most vibrant. I'll track and keep you updated. Anyways, thanks again for the work you two put forth. Now, and as I mentioned here, I set these aside as testimonial thanks. If you're using more than I mentioned, that's fine. I have to put some sort of limit on it or people go bananas. Folks, a lot of you are here because you messed yourself up by overdoing supplements and basically anything you came across that you heard was good for you. You thought, well, if a little's good, more is better. I'm that type of person. I know it. So that's why we have a lot of people here who do that. Don't overdo everything. There's an idea. There's a crazy idea. Don't overdo everything. Let me see. I think he had another post about, well, anyway, he was saying he would try raw milk, or he would try milk or raw milk, and he would get inflammation. He could gain a little weight with milk, but he would also get lots of inflammation from it. So apparently raw milk is inflammatory to people too. I wonder how that could be. I don't know if it's the vitamin A or the vitamin D or the calcium. If you guys don't understand, raw milk has vitamin A and vitamin D in it as well. Okay. Just because it's raw doesn't mean it doesn't cause problems. Yeah, Hound Jog was saying that's me. That you're talking about the cholesterol, I think, Hound Jog, right? That you're the cholesterol testimonial. Okay, so let's see. Was there anything else? Oh, so we got one more. Okay, so this is a short one. Here we go. Testimonial number 4. Sharing a win. My acupuncturist commented at my appointment this week that my liver was 30% softer, which he viewed as a big improvement. I've been on a low vitamin A diet for 10 months, supplement with magnesium, potassium, sunbathe for 10 minutes, and use charcoal daily. I added MSG about 6 weeks ago. I take 1 drop, that's 1/64th of a teaspoon, 3 times a day with meat meals. After 10 months, I feel the gains are starting to happen. So grateful. Softening up livers, folks. MSG, all the things we use. So it's all, yeah, okay, so yes, Hound Jog said, yes, that was her. Okay. Somebody else, LeBrad Pass said, dropping in to say hi. Can't wait to catch up later. As someone who used black seed, thank you for calling it out for the trash that it is. Yeah, not a big fan of black seed oil. So let's get into it then. So this is the document. Let me do full screen. So the document, Joe probably linked it in the chat. Joe will also link it in the comments, and then I'll pin it as the top post. Oh, Joe doesn't have the link. Well, let me get you that link, Joe. Joe, you may want to, well, here, I'll do it. Let me take off that. There you go. Okay. So we're going to go through black seed oil. Now, first of all, I'm just going to remind everybody that nobody has an herb deficiency. Okay? There is no such thing as an herb deficiency. So when something like, let's say, black seed oil is proposed as the cure to all disease, there's something in it that before people could measure it scientifically, it was very, very strong at causing things. That doesn't mean things can look good in the beginning, as we'll get into. Hormone replacement therapies often seem great in the beginning, and long-term they cause problems. Well, there's your foreshadowing. Okay. And first I want to go into, again, remember the whole seed oils are bad thing? I just think it's hilarious that all of a sudden seed oils are bad, but black seed oil black seed oil is somehow good. Okay, we have an oil, which means there are fat-soluble, fat-storable components in it, which means they can accumulate. Oh, we'll hit on that. And yeah, so now let's get into it. This will be fun. So those of you who don't know what black seed oil, it's also black cumin seed oil. And they are basically grinding up seeds and taking the oil out of it. So let me get into this. Here we go. The first link, the phytochemistry and pharmacological activities. I just wanted to hit on this. There are some pictures in here. I don't know if I can zoom in on this. Is this going to zoom? Oh, not a great view. But some of the chemicals in black seed oil. I wish this looked better, but we got to deal with it. Thymol. All these are fat soluble compounds. Carvacrol is also in wild oil of oregano. It has liver toxicity too. We got the dithymoquinone. There's thymoquinone. I'm assuming dithymoquinone is the same thing as thymoquinone. Let's keep going. Phenolic compounds. Okay, we talk about phenols here a lot. Phenols are related to polyphenols. Polyphenols include, more foreshadowing, phytoestrogens, isoflavones like the phytoestrogens in soy. It includes tannins, which actually tan the gut. It includes the good old polyphenol antioxidants like quercetin here. Polyphenols in general slow down ALDH, aldehyde dehydrogenase. What, in my opinion, one of the most important detox enzymes in the body. So these are all phenols, phenolic compounds in here. Coumaric acid, quercetin, catechins, camphorol, more quercetin, apigenin, quercetin, all that stuff. Polyphenols slow detox. Let's see what's next. Alkaloids. Alkaloids are generally not thought to be good for you. So you can go and check on those. What else do we got? Saponins. Generally not considered healthy for you. Fatty acids. Let's so you know how seed oils that everybody talks about bad about them because of the PUFAs? Okay. Linoleic acid, an omega-6 PUFA, is the main fatty acid in black seed oil. So apparently black seed oil, not only is it a seed oil, but it's a high PUFA oil. Somehow it avoids all of the negatives of seed oils and PUFAs because it does stuff. Okay, drugs do stuff. Wait, there's foreshadowing too. Drugs do things. That doesn't mean they're good for you. They do things, and they have consequences later. Okay, let's move on. So first, thymoquinone is the main active ingredient in black seed oil. Gosh, it's an insecticide. Weird. You ever smelled black seed oil? We're going to go into the smell of it. It smells like chemicals. Let's see. Thymoquinone, a component in the essential oil of incense cedar heartwood, has been shown to have insecticidal action against adult mosquitoes. Thymoquinone is the main thing in black seed oil as well. Okay. I don't think there's anything else that I wanted to hit on that. I just wanted to show you that it is an insecticide. Let's get back here to this one. So the smell, I was doing some research on the smell of black seed oil. Here's the descriptions that we got. Pungent and peppery. Black pepper, oregano, or cumin seed. Cumin seed smells that way because of cumin aldehyde. Black pepper is one of the things that will slow down your liver the most. Black pepper and piperine that they put in your supplements, they will say, ooh, it raises the levels of these things in your blood. Like curcumin. It does that because it's slowing down your ability to detox, so it's backing up in your blood. Okay. So we have herbal and resinous, as in thyme, camphor, or turpentine-like essential oils. This is like turpentine. We start getting into, well, let's just keep going. Slightly smoky or burnt, a tar-like diesel or burnt rubber smell. Does this sound like something that is good for you? Based on all the principles that we go over here, is this sounding like something that is good? Or is it sounding like something that is based, it's just full of chemicals? And the last thing, the bitter base of the smells, earthy, slightly rancid, sesame, or nutty. Okay. Those of you who have been here a long time, you know that this is not a good sign. This is not something that our body is going to like over the long term. So let's keep going. Not that one. This one. So now we're into, we did the insecticide. Oh, wait, let me fix that. There we go. And so now we're going to get into the toxicity of it. Now, I want you to realize, like, okay, when a culture says that a plant, an oil of a plant is the cure for all diseases, do you think those researchers are going to go into it trying to show that it's a bad thing or trying to show that it's a good thing? You probably understand that they were raised with a bias of this being good. So let's get into it. I like that PubMed right now has like basically the government shutdown, the government shutdown warning on every page. So Nigella sativa, that's black seed. Safety and overview. I want to show that like this is a 2020 study. They're still going to say the safety of it is to be determined. Although studies that assess Nigella sativa toxicity generally introduce it as a safe medicinal herb, to draw a more definitive conclusion on its safety, more detailed studies must be conducted. So 2020, they're still saying more detailed studies need to be conducted. Is this going to put my highlights on it? There we go. Acute and chronic toxicity of Nigella sativa fixed oil. So remember how I was saying cholesterol is a marker of toxicity, and that cholesterol could either go up in a state of toxicity or it can go down, and your liver doesn't make as much. So what do we have going on here from black seed oil? The serum cholesterol, triglyceride, and glucose levels and the count of leukocytes, that's a white blood cell, and platelets decrease significantly compared to control values, while the hematocrit and hemoglobin levels increase significantly. A slowing of body weight gain was also observed in Nigella sativa treated rats as compared to control animals. You want to know what happens in testosterone replacement therapy? These go up. Do you think it's good that white blood cells and platelets are going down significantly? What do you think is happening to the liver here? Do you think it's fixing the liver cholesterol, triglyceride issues, or do you think it's slowing something down? Well, we'll get into the detox slowdown as we go. Let me just see if that's all I had here. Yep. Remember on that last paper I just went over, it said it was decreasing platelets significantly. Here we have a whole paper, thymoquinone-induced platelet apoptosis. Thymoquinone is a nutrient. It's not a nutrient. It's a chemical with anti-carcinogenic activity that stimulates suicidal death of tumor cells. Remember, cancer cells, tumor cells are your own tissue. Okay. Moreover, thymoquinone triggers suicidal death of red blood cells or eryptosis, an effect at least partially due to an increase in cytosolic calcium activity. So it's stimulating calcium activity. Gosh, that's interesting. And ceramide formation. So we now have it's killing platelets It's killing red blood cells. In conclusion, thymoquinone triggers suicidal death of blood platelets. Sounds perfect to me. That was sarcasm. Okay. So in vitro toxicological properties of thymoquinone. So yes, this is an in vitro study. It is not an in vivo study, so it's the petri dish kind of thing. To further evaluate the toxicological properties in a metabolically competent cellular system. So they mean like a normal system. Thymoquinone was applied to primary rat hepatocyte cultures. These are liver cells, rat liver cells, and both cyto and genotoxic effects were tested. Metabolically competent, as in functioning normally. In this approach, thymoquinone demonstrated cyto, as in cell toxic, and genotoxic, as in DNA toxic effects in a concentration-dependent manner. It induced significant anti-proliferative effects at 20 micromoles and acute cytotoxicity at higher concentrations. So anti-proliferative, the cells are not reproducing like they're supposed to. And acute cellular toxicity. Thymoquinone significantly increased the rates of necrotic, that's dying cells, at concentrations between 2.5 and 20 micromoles. Furthermore, it induced significant genotoxicity at concentrations greater or equal to 1.25 micromoles. These observations support the previous finding that thymoquinone causes glutathione depletion. You know what else causes that? Tylenol, acetaminophen, paracetamol, and liver damage, but contradicts the reports indicating antioxidant and anti-clastogenic effects. Wait, so we have studies that are confusing here, and here's the study that says things are bad. Thymoquinone might be metabolized to reactive species and increase oxidative stress, which contributes to the depletion of antioxidant enzymes and damage to DNA in hepatocytes, liver cells treated with high thymoquinone concentrations. What do you think those influencers out there are telling people to do with the black seed oil? You think they're telling them to take less or to take more? How do you get to high thymoquinone concentrations? Well, I'm sure these companies selling black seed oil are bragging about their thymoquinone concentrations. How do you get to toxicity of something? Megadose it. Okay. Acute and subacute toxicity profiles of thymoquinone-loaded nanostructured lipid carrier. Lipid nanoparticles? Does that sound anything like, I don't know, Pokies? Nanostructured lipid carriers. Remember, the lipid nanoparticles, they have a proprietary formulation. They didn't have to tell us what was in them. I've been over this with retinoic acid as well. Why are they studying this? Thymoquinone-loaded nanostructured lipid carriers. Okay. I want you to pay attention to especially the end of this part. In acute toxicity, thymoquinone that is loaded in nanostructured lipid carriers was found to be less toxic than pure thymoquinone. Okay. It can be concluded that encapsulation of thymoquinone in lipid carrier minimizes the toxicity of the compound. Why would they need to do that? In the subacute toxicity study, oral administration of 100 milligrams per kilogram of the thymoquinone lipid nano carrier and thymoquinone did not cause mortality to either male or female, but resulted in toxicity to the liver. It is postulated that long-term consumption of the nanolipid one and regular thymoquinone may cause toxicity to the liver, but not to the extent of altering the functions of the organ. What they're saying is that thymoquinone from black seed oil could be damaging the liver, but it's not showing up on your liver tests. A silent liver disease. Gosh, medicine talks about these things like called silent liver disease today. And why do they call it silent? Because it doesn't show up on your liver enzymes. They're specifically saying here that it could be damaging your liver, but not changing the blood test of the liver enzymes. Okay, that should be scary. Insights into the protective effects of thymoquinone against toxicities induced by chemotherapeutic agents. Okay, so Folks, I went over this in the methylene blue video. Methylene blue is supposedly protective against all these other toxicities. Methylene blue as a fad is dying. It's dying off, and I hope I helped kill it. Methylene blue is trash, and they'll say, oh, it helps against all these other toxicities, but it's slowing detox. We're going to go into that. So just because it's making another poison less poisonous doesn't mean it's good for you. Where were we going? Here we go. Thymoquinone is generally safe to use, but toxicity has been observed at higher doses in a study conducted by Abu Qadir. Wistar albino rats administered with 30 milligrams per kilogram and 40 milligrams per kilogram of thymoquinone showed signs of toxicity such as lethargy, abdominal swelling, piloerection, that's like goosebumps, like the hairs are sticking up, irritability, and weight loss. Weight loss. We saw that with the lowering of the cholesterol and the triglycerides. It's sending people towards an undertype. It was found that 22.5 milligrams per kilogram and 15 milligrams per kilogram are the maximum tolerated doses through the intraperitoneal route that's injected in male rats and female rats, respectively. When administered orally, whoa. Okay, so the male and the female, so the males tolerated more than the females did. Men detox faster than women do in general, male humans. When administered orally at doses of 500 milligrams per kilogram and 300 milligrams per kilogram, toxicity signs like dyspnea, shortness of breath, abdominal distension, weight loss, diarrhea, and hypoactivity were observed. The MTD, the maximum tolerated dose through oral route for both male as well as female rats, were reported as 250 milligrams per kilogram. MTD, maximum tolerated dose, is the highest safe dose that can be administered without showing signs of toxicity. Okay, that's all for that one. Now, I wasn't able to get the full paper on this one, but here we have one. Joe sent me something. Okay. Rhabdomyolysis, as in breaking down of your muscle tissue so much that the myoglobin is clogging up your kidneys. Destruction of muscle so bad that it's the breakdown products of your muscle are clogging your kidneys. An acute kidney injury, that's rhabdo, after consumption of black seed oil. Wait, I don't know if all the fitness and health influencers are telling people about this paper. This was 2024. Gosh, do you think somebody started taking the influencers' advice and took too much black seed oil? In this case report, we present a case of acute kidney injury, rhabdomyolysis, and hepatoliver toxicity after ingestion of black seed oil. It's happening, folks. And black seed oil is kind of dying off, so it's good because people are realizing that it kind of sucks. The effective route of administration in thymoquinone toxicity in male and female rats. It's funny that I can find all these papers on toxicity, and yet they're just like, no, it's totally safe. All the other papers, they'll still say it's safe even though they find toxicity. There were different signs of toxicity shown in rats which received intraperitoneal injections, just injections, from those who received oral ingestion of thymoquinone. People are going to be mostly eating it. Rats which received intraperitoneal injection of thymoquinone showed toxicity signs which were related to acute pancreatitis. Meanwhile, rats who received oral ingestion of thymoquinone showed transient toxicity signs. 2 deaths were reported at a dose of 500 milligrams per kilogram as a result of bowel obstruction complications. Cured all disease, huh? Anti-proliferative and anti-apoptotic effect of thymoquinone on cancer cells in vitro. I want you to pay attention here. Nigella sativa oil and thymoquinone were comparatively tested in vitro for their effects on human cancer cell lines, as well as mouse embryonic fibroblast cell lines. This sounds like a normal cell line to me. And for the induction of apoptosis, the pre-programmed cell death. Treatment with thymoquinone reduced the number of all cells significantly. So it's inducing apoptosis and it's reducing the cell's ability to reproduce. Okay. let's keep going. So what section are we on now? We are on, we get to go into the slowing detox. The slowing detox section and the accumulating section. So when we have toxicities, toxins, they tend to accumulate, especially if they're fat soluble or fat storable. This is, black seed oil, like literally it's oil. It's fat soluble, it's fat storable. And then we get to go into, so one of the big things like with methylene blue, why did everybody think it's so great to start? Those of you who have been here a long time, you understand that slowing down detox, which is what most pharmaceuticals do. It's what pharmaceuticals do to make you feel better for the short term. It slows down your detox. You can not clean your house and you have more time for a while. Like you have more time to do things because you're not cleaning your house, but eventually your house gets so dirty that it doesn't function. You understand? So you can put off things or slow down detox and things look better because a lot of your symptoms, if you don't realize it, your symptoms are toxicity symptoms and detox symptoms. So short-term benefit and long-term pain is you slow down detox. Short-term, maybe things don't feel so great like you saw in some of those testimonials, but long-term fixing things, that's what we do. So you get to choose in the short term. Do you want to feel better or maybe feel a little worse? And then long-term, do you want to feel better or maybe worse, a lot worse? Because the more you slow down detox, the more you're accumulating toxins. And then later on, you're more toxic. So let's get into this. Okay. We talk a lot about P-glycoprotein here. P-glycoprotein is your cell's detox mechanism. Okay. P-glycoprotein. And it's called an efflux mechanism of your cell. It helps toxins to leave your cell. So if you inhibit P-glycoprotein, toxins stay in the cell. So here's the paper, Influence of Thymoquinone on Glycoprotein Changes in Experimental Hyperglycemic Rats. I brought this paper in here for one reason only. I want to show you how they induced diabetes in the rats. So they gave them streptozotocin and nicotinamide. That's how they induced diabetes in the rats. Don't eat fortified flour. Don't use niacinamide. Don't use non-flushing niacin. The only thing you use is nicotinic acid. I want you to pay attention to, they are pushing nicotine and they are pushing various niacinamides. There's niacinamide, there's niacinamide mononucleotide, there's niacinamide riboside, there's niacinamide in your flour, there's niacinamide in every single B vitamin supplement, every single multivitamin. They are poisoning you. They're trying to convince you to poison yourself with nicotine and niacinamide. And then as we went over in that whole flush niacin debunking thing, they're trying to badmouth nicotinic acid via trash design studies for that purpose. So you got to wonder, why are they pushing nicotine? Why are they pushing nicotinamide or niacinamide? And they avoid or they badmouth flush niacin. Flush niacin detoxes you. These other things are toxic. Nicotine is a pesticide that it can actually, your body can oxidize it into nicotinic acid, and then it actually becomes beneficial. So some of the people who smoke may actually be craving nicotinic acid. And then people doing niacinamide are just hurting themselves. And I went over that in my Substack article about Grant Generou's vendetta against all things niacin, when most people don't understand the differences. One of these things is good, the others are not. So don't take niacinamide or don't take non-flushing niacin. It's better to not take any niacin than to take niacinamide or these other niacinamide products. If you're going to take anything niacin, you do flush niacin, aka nicotinic acid. Don't do nicotine, please. Okay. Thymoquinone chemosensitizes. Drug effect sensitization. Human colorectal cancer cells to imatinib via uptake/efflux genes modulation. Efflux is the cells being able to get rid of toxicity. Okay. Now let's just say cancer cells are actually your own cells, and your body makes them as kind of satellite toxin storage areas that also have their own detox mechanisms. Cancer cells are known to have high levels of ALDH. And one of the things that chemotherapy tries to do is to slow down ALDH and P-glycoprotein and the cytochrome P450s, which is another part of your detox mechanism. So here's an idea. If you slow down the detox ability of cancer cells, which are trying to help you, then those cells, those cancer cells are made to store toxicity. They're made to help with detox, but you can break them. If that's your goal, you could break them too. So if we were trying to put a poison in the body to kill cells and it wasn't working, what could we also put in? A detox slowing down thing. Synergy, right? And it slows down the detox. In conclusion, thymoquinone potentiates, what is that? Imatinib, a chemotherapy agent, efficacy on HCT116 cells via uptake/efflux genes modulation. They are slowing down the detoxability of the cells. And so they are destroying these cancer cells, which are trying to help you. Now, what's going to happen when they destroy these things? What is chemotherapy? Doesn't cure anything. Like they keep talking about, ivermectin and fenbendazole as curing things. Is it fixing the toxicity? No. It's slowing your detox. And the problem is going to either show back up as cancer again, just like other chemotherapies. Ivermectin is specifically a chemotherapy using a chemical compound or a drug as a therapy. It's going to show up either somewhere else later, or it's going to show back up as the same problem. We just have to give it time. Here, this is pretty straightforward. Inhibition of cytochrome P450 enzymes by thymoquinone in human liver microsomes. Thymoquinone, the main active ingredient of black seed oil, slows down your detox system. We'll show it multiple ways. Results of the presented study presented that the metabolic activities of all the investigated cytochrome enzymes, all of them that they looked at, as in cytochrome 1A2, 2C9, 2D6, and 3A4. This is the most prevalent and most important cytochrome P450 in your entire body. This does the most things. Were inhibited by thymoquinone. Okay. Effects of thymoquinone on the pharmacokinetics and pharmacodynamics of glibenclamide in a rat model. Okay. So, furthermore, diabetic rats treated with thymoquinone demonstrated a marked decrease in hepatic protein expressions of cytochrome 3A2 and cytochrome 2C11 enzymes that are responsible for the metabolism of glibenclamide. The current data suggests that thymoquinone exhibits a synergistic effect with glibenclamide on the glucose level, which could be explained by reducing cytochrome P450 at the protein level. So see, they're slowing detox. And they're saying, oh, we see a benefit from this. Do you understand that you can see short-term benefits by slowing detox? Really, really important. Rob Peter to pay Paul. And this is one I wanted to go over. Toxins tend to accumulate. Thymoquinone is a potential neuroprotector in acute and chronic forms of cerebral pathology. So you're going to say, oh, well, that sounds good, right? Thymoquinone-based mitochondria-targeted antioxidants are accumulated in the mitochondria. A toxin is accumulated in the mitochondria, which means it may not show up in short-term toxicity studies, but it will eventually show up. Thymoquinone is not a nutrient, it's a chemical. So let's keep going. Okay. What part are we in? Oh, now we're into, it's chemotherapy. Thymoquinone is chemotherapy. Basically, remember they use retinoic acid as chemotherapy. Well, let's get into this. Anti-cancer potential of thymoquinone from Nigella sativa, an in silico and cytotoxicity study. Thymoquinone, a monoterpene quinone, emerging as a key therapeutic compound, significantly consideration for its various pharmacological activity. Drug-like activity with lower toxicity compared to conventional chemotherapy. So they're saying it's a drug that is less toxic than chemotherapy. Is that saying a lot? Thymoquinone in human myelogenous leukemia cells demonstrated significant dose and time-dependent cell toxicity, confirming thymoquinone's potential as a promising therapeutic candidate for leukemia and other cancer. We saw that it kills red blood cells. We saw that it reduces platelets. We saw that it generally reduces cells being able to reproduce. Sounds like chemo. Okay, let's keep going. This paper, I really just wanted to hit on the fact that they're calling it a drug. Black cumin seed essential oil as a potent analgesic and anti-inflammatory drug. This is funny because this journal is phytotherapy, as in plant therapy research, and they call it a drug. It's like these journals have lost their way. Analgesic, remember, well, there's Tylenol, right? Acetaminophen, APAP, paracetamol, which depletes glutathione. Remember that study we went over before about thymoquinone depleting glutathione? So it's a pain-relieving drug. I don't know if I had anything else on this. I think that was all I wanted there. I just want you to pay attention to how they're talking about this. They're putting in the lipid nanoparticles. They're calling it a drug. They're using it as a chemotherapy. Does this sound at all like retinoic acid? I mean, it does to me. Thymoquinone extracted from black seed triggers apoptotic cell death in human colorectal cancer cells via a p53-dependent mechanism. Thymoquinone, the most abundant constituent present in black seed, is a promising dietary chemopreventive agent. Wow. Sure talk about it like it's a drug, don't they? Thymoquinone suppresses the proliferation of renal cell carcinoma cells via reactive oxygen species induced apoptosis and reduces cell stemness. Those are not good things. Reactive oxygen species, that's the one thing that your body makes antioxidants like glutathione for, is to fight against reactive oxygen species. In addition, thymoquinone also triggered the production of reactive oxygen species. Most of the research you look at, they're trying to reduce those things. Moreover, thymoquinone suppressed the cell sphere formation and the expression of aldehyde dehydrogenase. So black seed oil inhibits aldehyde dehydrogenase. And then all these other things. Nanog, Nestin, I don't know what any of those are. Okay. And then we have here Nigella sativa, which is black seed phytochemistry and pharmacological activities, a review. Let me find what I marked here. Did I mark anything? Maybe I didn't mark anything in this one. No, I think I had this one because I was going to show other compounds from it. So let's move on. Oh, and this is the last one. Okay. Now we're going to get into the infertility PSYOP part of this. If it wasn't obvious enough that this is a toxin that accumulates and slows detox. Now we're going to get into the fact that this is literally hormone replacement. This was hormone replacement before people knew what hormones were. Gosh, do you think if back before we had chemistry and science that people were taking hormone replacement, they might think this is the greatest thing ever? It's literally hormones. We're going to get into that. So here we go. First thing, Investigation of the effects of thymoquinone and polyvinyl pyrrolidone on the motility, viability, and chromatin status of sperm in normozoospermic semen samples. That just basically means normal. Okay, thymoquinone, a major constituent of Nigella sativa plant, has been suggested as a potential natural spermostasis. That means it makes your sperm not move. So could your sperm be totally fine in all the other ways? But if it doesn't move, does it work? Does it do its job? That's kind of one of the most important things that sperm do, is it actually has to move. But it's natural. It's a natural sperm paralyzer. Here we go. Thymoquinone caused sperm immobility. Thymoquinone could be used as an alternative natural spermostasis with less adverse effects rather than polyvinyl pyrrolidone. Okay. So that's the fun one for guys. When you find out how estrogenic black seed oil is, you're going to understand why black seed oil was pushed so hard on by the male influencers to men. And then the crazy thing is that nobody talked about how estrogenic black seed oil was. A randomized placebo-controlled crossover trial with phytoestrogens in treatment of menopause and breast cancer patients. Now, I'm going over this paper for a specific reason. Okay, this is not black seed oil. This is phytoestrogens from, I think it's soy. I'm assuming it's soy. It didn't go that deep. I was a little late this morning. So they gave, these are soy-based phytoestrogens. Okay. The phytoestrogen regimen, they gave them tablets containing 114 milligrams of isoflavonoids, which are polyphenols, which are phytoestrogens. Okay. It raised the circulating levels of phytoestrogens 19 times to 106 times. Pay attention here. In addition, the phytoestrogen regimen caused no changes in FSH, LH, estradiol, or sex hormone binding globulin. So they're giving them these plant estrogens that are binding to your estrogen receptors and causing changes like estrogen does. But it's not changing your hormone levels because they're different enough that your body's not recognizing what is happening. Okay? It's a hormone therapy. So they feel good. Of the 56 women, 25 preferred the phytoestrogen regimen. Hormones in the beginning feel good for the most part. Later on, they do things like, I don't know, taking all this extra estrogen causing breast cancer and things of that nature. So, remember, it didn't necessarily change the hormone levels, but it's causing estrogenic effects. Effect of Nigella sativa seed extract on estradiol, which is estrogen, FSH levels, and vaginal maturity index in menopausal women, a randomized controlled trial. So we're going to see the effects of the estrogenic part of black seed oil. Nigella sativa seed extract has been shown to have a significant effect on endometrial thickness and vaginal cytology and ovaryectomy. So they had their ovaries taken out. So they were basically, these animals were given menopause. Ovaryectomized animal models suggesting potential benefits for managing menopausal symptoms. So both treatment groups. So wait, let me see. Group 1 got a placebo. Groups 2 and 3 got different amounts of black seed oil extract. Both treatment groups showed significant increases in estradiol levels and vaginal maturity index. So it's basically thickening things down there, okay? After 8 weeks of daily Nigella sativa seed extract administration compared to the placebo group, they're giving them hormone therapy. You'll see later. In conclusion, twice daily Nigella sativa seed extract at 910 milligrams a day or 1,365 milligrams a day for 8 weeks significantly increased estradiol levels and VMI in menopausal women. It's not making these women actually, it may be having them make more because, as you'll see, black seed oil actually literally contains LH, luteinizing hormone, and FSH, follicle stimulating hormone. And it also contains estrogen. They're taking hormone replacement therapy. And so it did these things. It increased their estrogen levels and VMI in menopausal women. And we have men out there taking this, men who would freak out and avoid soy. Like they'd avoid soy like crazy. Oh, I'm not going to eat that. That's estrogenic. I'm not going to take flaxseed oils. Those are super estrogenic. And they're taking black seed oil. They seem to miss all this research, and the influencers didn't tell them about it. Let's see. There we go. Here, we're going to use something. We're going to use black seed oil to treat something else that they treat with birth control pills. The possible short term of Nigella sativa in the management of adolescent polycystic ovarian syndrome. Results of a randomized controlled trial. Participants were randomly allocated to the intervention Nigella sativa and control 10 milligrams a day of medroxyprogesterone from the 14th day of the cycle for 10 nights groups. So they're giving these girls either black seed oil or birth control for the same type of issue. Okay. Black seed oil is a hormone replacement therapy. So they're treating it with it. And yes, they saw changes. Effects of Nigella sativa on the reproductive system in the experimental menopause rat model. What do we give menopausal women? What does conventional medicine give menopausal women? It gives them hormones. The results demonstrated that the Nigella sativa exerted estrogenic effects were exhibited through uterotrophic assays. So it's actually changing their uterus and vaginal cell cornification, as well as blood estrogen level. It's raising blood estrogen levels. Guys, stop taking this. Furthermore, low-dose Nigella sativa methanol extract and linoleic acid, omega-6, PUFA, had prominent estrogenic-like effects, which were significantly different from those of the control group in different experiments. Remember, black seed oil has this. Prominent estrogenic-like effects. You don't want it. The finding indicated the probable beneficial role for Nigella sativa in the treatment of postmenopausal symptoms and possibility of using Nigella sativa as an alternative to hormone replacement therapy for postmenopause in humans. You're going to see why it works. There's nothing magic about it. Okay, again, we have the estrogenic effect. Black seed oil supplement had positive effects on blood concentration and MRA expression levels of estrogen and sex hormone binding globulin in premenopausal women with overweight and obesity, a crossover, double-blind, placebo-controlled, randomized clinical trial. So it increased positive effects and the body's making it of estrogen and sex hormone binding globulin. Why would the body increase sex hormone binding globulin unless it wanted to bind more hormones? Do women who are overweight and obese need more estrogen in their system? I'm going to say no. Wait, was this the same? This is the same paper? Oh, sorry, I got two of those. Hold on, let me go look. Hold on, Joe, I'll be right. Oh, I just had two of them in there. Okay. Okay, here we go. Oh, let's see if ResearchGate can manage to let me in. Okay, now, again, I told you that it's hormone replacement therapy. People will try to be like, no, the black seed oil is just fixing their hormonal problems because it's magical plant medicine that smells like tar and an automotive shop. No. Hormonal contents of two types of black seed oil, a comparative study. The use of black seed, Nigella sativa capsules as an herbal therapy to lower blood glucose in diabetic patients are associated with menstrual cycle irregularities. That doesn't sound good. The results of the present study showed a presence of considerable amount of sex hormones, estradiol, progesterone, prolactin, testosterone, FSH, and LH. This might interpret the cause of menstrual cycle irregularities occurring when black seed capsules were taken as an herbal therapy to lower blood glucose in diabetic patients. Now, this paper is saying there's literally a considerable amount of estradiol, progesterone, prolactin, testosterone, FSH, and LH. So do you think that somebody who's low in testosterone could take this and feel good? Yes. Are they also taking lots of estrogen? Yes. Are they stimulating their body's own production of hormones through FSH and LH? Yes. They're taking hormone replacement therapy and pre-hormone replacement therapy, the things that stimulate you to release it. Let me see what else I marked in here. Let me see if it shows up. Well, it's not jumping to it, so I guess I'll have to scroll down. I hope it actually highlighted it. I don't think it did. Well, that's too bad. Oh, here we go. This is the big quote I wanted to go with. The oral administration of black seed that contains sex hormones these are not English speakers as their primary language, is resemble to the oral administration of contraceptive pill contains this hormone's works by altering the body's natural hormonal balance, thus inhibiting ovulation, preventing implantation of the egg, and making the cervical mucus hostile to sperm. They're comparing black seed oil to birth control. Gosh, can you say infertility PSYOP? Yeah. So that's the stuff I wanted to go over today. Let me pull up the chat, and that is basically that. So Joe, I'm going to take off the share for now. Yeah, you already got it. Okay, great. So they're telling men to take herbal birth control pills that slowly is toxic to the liver. That doesn't necessarily show up on liver tests. I love these guys. I see guys on Twitter who are like, I do all my labs and they look great and things don't show up. And I'm like, yeah. What happens when the problem shows up, but it didn't show up on your labs? This is in the literature. So we have to kind of look at these things and look at the external effects. And we also have to look at the biases of the reason that they want to prove like it's an ethnic and cultural thing that it is the cure to all diseases. So they're trying to prove that their culture is right. Don't take it. Okay. So let me look at the super chats and the other stuff that Joe posted for me. Okay. So Heather Hollinger, thank you for the super chat. Let me find that. There we are. Husband 44, not on the Love Your Liver program. Stroke-like symptoms, blurry vision, tingling and numbness in mouth, right arm and hand, anxiety, no evidence for a stroke after doing an MRI, CT, heart echo, prescribed Lipitor, aspirin, calcium. Thank you. I don't even know where to begin, Heather. Okay, folks, this is not just for you, Heather. This is for everybody out there. If you have loved ones, friends, family members who are in very rough spots, and you can love them, to use an expression, you can love them to death, and they're not going to change until they decide to change. You cannot make somebody change. The more you try to make somebody change, the more they resist you. I know, like, there's a great book on this where you can look into stuff called the let them theory. But people have to decide that the pain of changing is less than the pain that they're currently going through now. Now, I will say that, a little personal story of mine. My mother went and she listened to her friends. This was years ago, probably more than a decade ago. And her friend said, you should go get the shingles vaccine. And she went and got it. And then a day or two later, she gets symptoms of like, she was getting headaches and her eye wasn't opening all the way. And I'm like, I think you're having a stroke. So we go to the hospital. We go to the hospital and they run all the tests on her. Nothing wrong. Can't find anything. And the doctors are like, yeah, sometimes you can have like, I forget why I'm blanking on what they call the little tiny strokes. I'm just blanking on it right now, but they thought, you can have one of those and it can clear out and we can't find it. And that could be what happened. And I'm sitting in the hospital, in the chair with my mom. And I forget what I thought about, but I went and I was looking some stuff up on my phone. And then I go, Mom, did you get any vaccines lately? She said, yeah, I got the shingles shot like 2 days ago. And I probably almost hurt myself rolling my eyes up into my head. So, I'm there. I'm human like all of us. And I'm going, you went and you got the shingles shot. Like, I'm trying not to get angry because there's nothing I can do about it. Right. So me being angry at my elderly mother is not going to help her feel any better about it. And it's not going to help me feel any better about it. And so I'm just beside myself going, have you not learned anything in all the time I've been doing all this work? Thank goodness we saved her from the coof pokey. And my mom is a pretty good listener to me about what to do, except she made that one mistake. Oh, Joe was posting transient ischemic attack, a TIA. Yes, thank you, Joe. That's what the word I was looking for. Transient ischemic attack. Transient means it comes and it goes, right? So, yeah. Oh, and then she'd also had, like, right before she had that episode, I think she had like half a glass of wine. And then that triggered, putting a toxin in and then triggering something that affected the liver, like a shingles poke. So, okay. If you're going to show your husband this, what I can say is the definition of insanity. If you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting what you've been getting, right? Or the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. So if your husband continues to do what he's been doing, which is how he got here, he's going to keep getting what he's been getting, which is not looking very good right now. So if you want to change something, you have to change something. Now would be the time to change something. But yeah, it's so okay. So just because medicine, I would, if it were my family member, if they were not, okay. So if they eat junk food, remember MSG plus junk food is junk. Like MSG will make you eat more junk food. So MSG plus junk food is a very bad combination. So don't think that you can like use MSG and eat crap food. It's going to end badly. It's going to make the person want to eat more junk food. But if they were to, I would suggest that if it were me or my family member and they were eating pretty good, I'd have them do MSG with it. Nicotinic acid. If you haven't seen our nicotinic acid, our flesh niacin articles here, it is the most potent, like cardiac, if you wanted to call it, compound vitamin, if you want to call it that, but I don't like the word vitamin very much, but flesh niacin fixes heart stuff and cerebrovascular, like that stuff, better than anything else. Lipitor, aspirin, calcium, that if it were my family member, I'd be doing my best to convince them to not do any of it. I'm lucky with my mother. They kept trying to put her on Lipitor because my mom had high cholesterol, just like I did, 260s, 280s, something like that. And I was lucky with my mom before she listened to me in these manners. She would get muscle pain on Lipitor within 2 or 3 days of starting it. Guess what her cardiologist told her? He said, it can't be that because it takes like 2 weeks for those symptoms to show up. My mom's like, no, it shows up like 2 days for me. And so I said, Mom, don't take it. Like, that's not good for you. It's obvious. And who cares what your doctor says? So again, in this case, if he has all the symptoms of a stroke, right? If it looks like a rose, if it smells like a rose, it's a rose. If he looks and acts and feels like he had a stroke of some sort, he had a stroke of some sort. It doesn't matter if the doctor says, I mean, what does the diagnosis change about what you can do about it, or what you need to do about it, or what you want to do about it? The diagnosis just, the doctor saying, well, he doesn't fit all the requirements of this. Okay. He's got all the obvious symptoms of it. So, I mean, does that change what we would do here? We would do the Love Your Liver program, and various things would be emphasized right now because we know we have a cardiac issue. So we'd be looking at, magnesium and potassium and flesh niacin and all the things that we do. If your husband's not going to change anything about his diet, then, but he'll maybe take supplements. I mean, that's something. You got to start somewhere. Maybe he starts feeling better from just doing supplements. And then he goes, oh, well, maybe I'll do more. Maybe this crazy guy out there is right about things. So anxiety, I mean, the biggest thing, okay, so I'll just hit on some things here. The biggest thing that can help, heart stuff. The biggest thing that can help anybody feel better, potassium, getting potassium right. So, if he's not going to do supplements, or if supplements are kind of, sensitive subject, bananas or coconut water or something that will likely help between potassium and then maybe topical magnesium, like our magnesium lotion, that could help the anxiety symptom. And both of those things are known to do very good things for the heart. I would not, if it were my family member, I would not have them doing calcium. I can't believe they put him on calcium. That's crazy. If you haven't seen my calcium episode where calcium is associated with an increased risk of all sorts of heart disease and strokes and all that stuff, you should watch it, or he should watch it. And I wouldn't do calcium at this point. I mean, I don't know what else to say other than, he's at a decision point. You can't make the decision for him. You can't force him to do it. About the only people who can force people to do things are, like, let's say you're taking care of somebody who has basically lost their function, or they've lost their ability to make decisions, and then you can make decisions for them. Like, they're practically in a home and you can decide what they do. Other than that, I mean, he's 44. Getting something like this could be if he got the pokies of any sort. This is probably related to that. What do we do for it? We do the same thing we do for everything else. Similar approaches. Joe put up the calcium live stream link. It's number 208. But yeah, we would, if you were working with one of our facilitators, we might emphasize different things. I mean, I already told you about the magnesium, potassium. You got the nicotinic acid, got the MSG. He would want to start slowly, but the sooner we get working on these things, the better. Magnesium lotion, I would be putting it just wherever the issues are, as close to the issues as you could, and then just getting the potassium going. It's a really, folks, with all the space weather and with all the toxicities and with all the stress, we're going to see people getting sick a lot. People who you were like, oh my gosh, they were always so healthy, and then they're falling apart. Stop the doom scrolling. The first thing you can stop doing is the doom scrolling. Stop the doom scrolling on your social media. It's not helping you. I used to do it. It's not going to help you to think that you have, like, the warning on, oh, the next apocalyptic thing is coming. It's not. How many times, if you're into doom scrolling and watching all these fear porn guys, how many times have they said something's about to happen and it never happens? Like, every week they come up with something, because that's how they keep you watching. More fear porn every week, more doom scrolling. Stop watching those people. Unsubscribe, unfollow, block them. Stop watching it, and your life will get better. You will feel better. You will be happier. you're not going to miss out on anything. The thing to know is if all of a sudden the stuff hits the fan, you're going to know. You're not going to be getting a 6-hour warning by some dork on YouTube. Okay? Your life will be better. Actually, I was just talking to Beth Martins the other day saying Twitter's always been kind of a nasty place, but it has gotten worse. And I said that to her. I said, Twitter's just becoming like gross. Like it's just hard to even go there. And she said she completely agreed. Like she can hardly bring herself to go there. The social media is designed to ruin you. There's good stuff out there. Of course, like there's me on YouTube and, I'm on social media, but you must protect yourself from social media. You must protect your brain. And if you see people who you don't want to see, like ladies, you gotta, I don't even know what you guys should block and all that stuff, but there's plenty of stuff. You ladies probably know what's bad for you. Guys, you got to block the OnlyFans girls. You got to block the thirst traps. You got to block the really bitter red pill guys. You got to block the doom fear porn guys. Like, protect yourself. Take care of yourself on there. And like the stress will get you. People don't talk about the stress as like sucking your energy, hair loss, hair thinning, all that stuff. Nobody talks about these things as because they don't want to deal with it. Think of your time online as like part of your nutrition, and don't put crap foods in. Don't put crap social media in. Okay. But other than that, I think you got some things, Heather. If somebody's not interested in helping their health, you can't make them get interested. If practically coming close to death, this is where I have a family member who has issues with their health, issues with the legal system. None of it has changed their behavior. Like, as they say, you got to hit rock bottom. A lot of times people have to hit their rock bottom. So it doesn't mean they have to hit rock bottom. It means they have to hit their rock bottom. If you're seeing people who constantly keep banging up against the same things, they're not there yet. It has to be worse, and they may never get there. I mean, you see some of the people out on the street, and what was their rock bottom? I don't know if they're there yet, or maybe they just went right past it. So if health scares aren't going to bring somebody around, like one this bad, and they're going to look at the people who do Lipitor and the aspirin and the calcium, and they're going to be like, oh, this sounds like a good idea, because there's all sorts of successes of people who have done this. There's not. There's not much you can do, no matter how much you love them. It's sad. So I'm sorry. I hope that's not too much of a bummer, but you have to protect yourself. Remember, you can't help others unless you help yourself first. So you have to help yourself to kind of detach a little bit, as in let him do what he's going to do, and then let you do what you're going to do. So you can lead by example. You can have good foods around the house. You can offer to cook him stuff, feed him what you're eating, and you can lead the way. That's about the best thing you can do. There is good stuff in the Let Them Theory book about trying to move people in the direction you want. I really like that book. Okay. So let's see. Hound Jog said, hi, Dr. Garrett. I use Delta 8 to give my liver a break because I drink to sleep. Can CBD cause energy problems the next day, like walking up hills? Thank you for healing me. This program works. I'm not sure I totally understand. You're using Delta 8 to give your liver a break because you drink to sleep. So you're having some alcohol to help you sleep. Is that right? And then you're using Delta 8 sometimes instead of drinking. Is that what I'm interpreting out of this? I'm just not sure. I want to make sure I'm clear on it. I mean, either way. Okay, at best, folks, like, remember, I was a medical director of a dispensary, of one of the first dispensaries to open up in Tucson. I have been in the medical, well, I was in the, I am plenty experienced with the cannabis world. We'll put it that way. And then I was a medical director of a dispensary. I think I had that job for about 10 years until basically we were the only state in the country that had to have a medical director. And then finally they said, once they made recreational use okay, they just said, well, you don't need a medical director anymore. So, it was a nice little gig for a while. I basically just collected a paycheck to have my name on the wall of the dispensary. But, anyway, no one I ever saw, people who go to the dispensaries didn't look healthy. And the longer they went there doing medical marijuana, they looked less healthy. Nobody ever looked healthier from doing medical marijuana or recreational marijuana. Is it probably okay? So if somebody is using cannabinoids, CBD, whatever, I just group it all in the same thing. It's all cannabinoids. None of it is good for you. Okay. Let me see. Joe's sending me some messages. Okay. So you're saying you need to sleep and not be bipolar, but you're bipolar when you don't drink. Okay. Well, that's a rough situation. You have to manage yourself. Now, we've had people, I forget the term, but we had people who would go into episodes where they were cursing and angry with people. Like a person sent me their video. I forget the name of the condition, but the guy was just yelling and cursing, and he would go into these, I don't know if they were mania episodes, but he would go into them, and he did the program and he got out of it. The wife was like, he's back to work. He's doing great. So yes, you need to sleep. Alcohol sleep is not great quality sleep. Alcohol ruins your REM sleep. It'll tend to make for more sleep apnea, more snoring, stuff like that. So if you say at this time you need alcohol to help you sleep, and because if you don't sleep, you get bipolar, then your goal is to figure out to keep doing the program, keep doing what's been working. As you were saying, that the cholesterol numbers were yours, and you're getting better in many ways. However, you want to figure out what is the minimal dose of alcohol that gives you the benefits or the outcome you're trying to get from it. What is the minimal amount? I mean, you're going to be dosing, if you're going to be doing alcohol for this, you're dosing it like a supplement. So if that's half a shot, half an ounce or whatever, if that's all you need of, like, let's say you're doing straight liquor and you're doing like vodka, a clean 10 times distilled or whatever. So all the other crap is out of it. I mean, if it takes a half a shot to give you that, what you need, then that's great. So you're trying to get the benefit with the smallest dose. I remember when I used to, smoke weed or CBD. CBD is, this is the simplistic thing. Just like the guy who had to eat bacon to keep his weight on. People got to do what they got to do to make it on a day-to-day basis. So if you have figured out that you're getting better, you still got some issues, and this is what you're choosing to do or having to do for now to continue moving forward and not having everything, I could be like irresponsible and just be like, just quit all of it. Just quit all of it. You don't need it. And then you quit it, and then all of a sudden, like, your whole life falls apart. You lose your house or you lose your apartment, and then you lose your job, and like, that's not helpful. So, you've got I mean this in the nicest way, you've got your crutches. You've got the crutches that you're using for now. Use them. The goal is to be off of them. Now, also remember that if you never plan on getting off of them, or if you're not looking to get off of them, then you may never get off of them. So you want to be looking for opportunities to take less. Why does my camera keep doing that weird focus thing? I turned on the camera this morning and all of a sudden it's doing the tracking me again. And I was like, how did that turn on? I didn't turn that on. Now it's doing this weird, like, focusing thing. So anyway, but could CBD cause energy problems the next day? Yeah. It's like a sedative. I mean, it's a neurological chemical compound that affects your brain. That's why you take it, right? You take it because it affects your brain. Can it affect you the next day? Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I feel like I'm about to sneeze. I thought I was going to make it. Oh, excuse me. Here we go. Okay. Okay. But yeah, CBD, I mean, it's okay. Cannabinoids in general are going to make you more tired or more sedated. That's what they do. So sedatives tend to make you not have as much energy or have trouble. Like the specific thing on the hills, I have no idea about the connection on that. It's just making you more tired. Hills are harder. So you feel more tired. So the less you can use, or the less often, if you don't have to use it every day, if you kind of know when you need it, only use it then. If you don't need it, don't use it. If you can use less, use less. That's if you can figure out alternatives to use, great. If a magnesium bath would conk you out instead of Delta 8 or alcohol, do that. So that's what I got. Okay, Saul777 said, love your work. You've made life easier, Dr. Smith. I admire your work that much more since I'm currently getting my pre-med courses done at the moment. Any advice? How can I keep my mind refreshed and full of knowledge? Perhaps regularly reading peer-reviewed journals. I get this question often enough. Hold on. Kelsey and I went on a little trip for our birthdays. And we were kind of in a place where we didn't have much control over our food. And I think I have it coming out now. As many of you know, like sometimes you get into places where you don't have control of your food, you eat, and then it comes out later. Various ways. My sinuses are my main detox pathway. That's really where it's always been. So anyway, the education system right now. My daughter is trying to get a dance scholarship to the U of A, and she's doing all the rigmarole to do that. And I'm just sitting there going, you better have something other than dance, because not everybody can be a dance instructor, and you don't need a dance degree to be a dance instructor, and nobody cares about your knowledge of the history of dance. She gets it though. She's smart. But yeah, what would I tell her and all that stuff? Medical school these days, even naturopathic medical school, normal medical school, the cost is outrageous. It's absolutely outrageous. Like insane. I did a physiology degree in undergrad with a minor in chemistry and nutrition. And back then, 1995 to 99, it was a lot cheaper. But yeah, my degree, I got lucky. It was basically a pre-med degree. It came out as a pre-med degree. So I was ready to go into naturopathic medical school when I finally learned about it. I hadn't planned on it, but I learned about it, and then there you go. So how do you keep, if you're learning this stuff, and this stuff is the stuff you're interested in, people, sometimes ask me like, how do I teach people how to think like this? Or how do I teach people how to figure these things out? And I go, I don't know. I'm going to tell you, like, why didn't, if this was an easy thing to teach, why didn't people figure this stuff out before? Why am I the guy that God sent here to do this mission? I don't know. I'm sometimes like disappointed that people didn't figure this stuff out before me. Like, Why has it taken 100 years or more for people to put these things together and for people to go, yeah, nobody has an herb deficiency? Why are we like self-poisoning ourselves? The liver stores toxins. There's people all over social media saying the liver doesn't store anything. And I'm like, how do we are in the times of the greatest misinformation and disinformation out there that we will ever be in. And people will say, I cherry pick studies. And I go, no, I have a framework and principles that allow me to disregard studies that don't mean what they really try to say they're meaning. So yeah, do I cherry? Yeah, I go into it with a framework and principles and a narrative. And yeah, I'm looking for stuff that backs that up. And my client results back it up. So I don't have to give. It's like saying you have to listen to each person equally. No, I absolutely don't. I'm not going to listen to each person equally. Too many people out there are freaking idiot degenerates. I'm not going to listen to them. Just like I don't listen to all the studies that are out there. So how do I pick to do that? I don't know. One of the things you could do, honestly, for any of you out there, for your education, is learn how to speed read. If you are a slow reader, you're going to be slow at all sorts of stuff in terms of education. Like, learn how to read faster. Doesn't mean you have to read a book in 10 minutes. It means learn how to read faster than you do. One of the things I was blessed with is I'm just generally a fast reader. And so I can go through a lot of stuff quickly. I'm good at skimming. I was trying to teach my son how I studied for tests. Like I would say, I figured it out. Like I studied patterns, right? So I was like, how do I learn best for tests? When I started learning about, people who learn visually versus auditory, whatever, I was like, okay, so here's what I do. Here's how I do best on tests. I go to class. Like I realized that if I don't go to class, I'm in trouble. So I'd go to class and I would just listen to the teacher, and I would take the notes that I felt like I needed to do. And most people would look at my notes and they're like, wow, that's really minimalistic notes. And I say, well, I'm just trying to get what they thought was important. But if I heard it, that was like the seed. So I'd hear it. I'd take my minimalistic notes. Then when test time was coming around, I would go into the book and I would look at my notes and I would highlight the book of the things that seemed to be important. So I'd go through and I'd highlight. Then I would take the highlighted parts and I would write them, abbreviated, shortened on a piece of paper. And then I would study that paper. And I could do all this. Like I would rather wake up at 2 a.m. the morning of a test to study from 2 a.m. until I had to leave versus pulling an all-nighter or staying up really late. I just learned that I'm better at waking up early and going from there rather than staying up all night and then getting crap sleep at the wee hours of the morning. As they say, every hour you sleep before midnight is worth 2 hours after. So I was rather going to go to bed early and wake up early rather than go to bed late and get those crappy hours of sleep before I had to go take the test. So you have to figure out how you learn best. School is basically, especially medical school, is jumping through hoops and regurgitating what they want you to regurgitate. Like I'm a black sheep in my field. Most of the people in my class probably, I think I've heard this from some of my peers. I know I've heard it from at least one or two. They thought I was going to do something special. They didn't know what. They thought I was going to, do something. And I was always kind of like the black sheep, even in school. And now here I am doing this. And most of my peers would be like, what are you talking about? Don't think this is a very important thing. Don't think you're going to go find another naturopathic doctor who says any of the same stuff that I do. It just doesn't happen. So there are a couple out there who watch my stuff. And it was kind of cool. I went to my high school reunion and one of the guys in my class was like, hey, I watch you on YouTube. And I was like, wow, that's cool. Then of course, everybody at the reunion is asking me what I would do about their health issues. And I'm kind of like, not what I wanted to do here, but I'll say a little bit. But if you want to know about like what the naturopathic field is, like I would go to the conventions, and one of the conventions they were talking about herbs, and I brought up at the end of it, well, ashwagandha that everybody loves that can cause you to basically lose all your emotions and your ability to feel. That's not good. Anyway, I was like, this is a nightshade. This causes inflammation. It makes people feel worse over time. And I was talking about the other nightshades, and I had like 6 NDs come up afterwards, and they were like, wow, could you do a presentation on this at one of the next conventions and whatever? And I proposed to the AANP that I would do a presentation on nightshades. Twice, they never responded. They're not interested in this stuff. I mean, I went to the last, the AANP convention a year or two ago, and they had presentations on gender affirming care and diversity and things of this nature. And that's where I knew that they were lost. They were gone. Oh yeah. So Joe was linking, the sayings and idioms and aphorisms live streams. There's a series of, I think 3 of them. I think they start with 178. And there's like 3 of them in a row of all the different sayings that I have. So I do like those sayings because they kind of give you a general grasp of how to think and what to do. If you're going to be dumb, you better be tough. Like that's a big one, which I got from a kettlebell guy. I got it from Jeff Martone, and I thought it was brilliant, right? It's kind of like FAFO. You can FAFO. If you're going to be dumb, you better be tough. If you're going to FA, you better be tough if you're going to be dumb and FA, you better be tough when you FO. So yeah. But other than that, I'm not cynical. I'm skeptical of everything. Trust and verify. So it's not trust, but verify. It's trust and verify. Which is what I did with Kelsey's information. When Kelsey first came around with the flush niacin thing, I said, she's all about it. She's like, it does all these great things. And I was kind of like, okay, cool. And she educated me about the difference between flush niacin or nicotinic acid and all the other stuff. I was like, okay, cool. And then I said, I got to try it myself. And I tried it. And I did some of the things. I did one of the things she told me not to do. She told me to buffer it, and I didn't buffer it on purpose. I wanted to see what happened. And just like she told me, all of a sudden I started smelling extra ammonia in my pee. I started smelling extra ammonia in my sweat. I started, she's like, I told her what happened. And she told me, yeah, I told you to buffer it. That's what's happening now. And I went, oh, okay. So I basically proved I wasn't doing anything that I was considered like that dangerous, but I wanted to prove that what she said was true in myself. And I did. And so now, do I trust Kelsey more than just about anybody else out there? Yes. Am I still going to test things out on myself because that's what I do? Yeah. It doesn't mean I don't trust her. It means I'm going to trust and verify, because I'm not going to give you guys something that just whether it's Kelsey or anybody else just tells me this is what this does and it's all good for you. Like, I'm not going to take black seed oil because some guy says this fixes everything. I'm going to look into it. And if you hear things that are suspicious, fix the cure to all disease, your red flags should immediately go up as something is very suspicious here. Why haven't they reproduced this in anything else? It's just hormone therapy. They're just giving people herbal hormone therapy. So let me go back and see the chat. What time are we at? 12:12? 12:12. Okay. Let me see that. Joe, we got all that. Wow, Joe, you posted a lot of links. Okay. Let's see here. I do have to. Did I see somebody walking up? Oh, yeah. Package. Okay. So Oh, Terminator's asking, let me see this question real quick. Terminator says, for undertypes where cholesterol is most likely trapped inside the liver, what protocol should be followed in this case? It's the same protocol. Okay, we don't do protocols. Protocol is not the right word. It's the same general approaches. The biggest thing that we do for undertypes is that because they're not good at making body fat and they're not good at making things that store toxins, for undertypes to not lose excessive amounts of weight, they often need to add some fat or oils to their diet. That's the big thing. Other than that, we don't change much. But undertypes have to be the most patient, because undertypes are, so there's like normal and there's overweight and then there's undertypes in terms of like how far away one is from health. Normal or good health, overweight, overtypes, undertypes. So undertypes have the furthest to go to get back to health. Kind of just like, normal people, live the longest. Obese people are next. And then the chronically underweight are the people who actually die the soonest. So we have these patterns, but we're trying to get the liver out of it the same way. We've gotten undertypes out of it where they start gaining weight, just like you saw with Brandon. He was doing MSG, and now he's finally gaining good weight without inflammation. So undertypes are the same way. You just got to be more patient, and undertypes are often the most sensitive. So you just have to watch what you're doing, add things slowly. Everybody should add things slowly and one thing at a time. But undertypes seem to be, undertypes. The good news about undertypes is they seem to react very quickly. They make a change and they notice it and they feel it. So it makes it easier to recognize things. But other than that, we're still just fixing the liver. That's the main thing. We're fixing the liver and the toxic bile. So, yeah. Terminator asks, would beans and beef/chicken protocol help in this case as well? Okay, that's like the cowboy diet. If you get along with beef, it's fine. If you get along with chicken, it's fine. If you get along with beans, it's fine. I would do white beans, navy beans, great northern beans, stuff like that. But what if you don't tolerate beans? I can't say, so that's why I don't say it's a protocol. I'm not going to, like, if you don't get along with beans, I'm not going to say that that's a great thing for you. This is where, so again, we don't have protocols. If you're not in the Love Your Liver program, and it really covers a lot of stuff. You can watch tons and tons of my live streams and catch most of it, but there's still going to be stuff in the Love Your Liver program that's not here. So, but the biggest thing is realizing there's a dietary framework. You want to make your diet fit within that framework that works for you. Okay. Okay. Oh, Denny said, great timing. Doc wants to put me on Lipitor for the high cholesterol. Right place, right time. Actually, I can't remember if we found somewhere, if Grant found somewhere, or did I find something somewhere? Let me see if I can find this. I want to see if statins inhibited aldehyde dehydrogenase. Anyway, nothing exciting. So, Terminator, I would suggest, if you're talking about flush niacin as helping, I would watch. I think we have 3 videos on niacin here. If you're not going to join, our most detailed information on flush niacin is in the Love Your Liver program. If you're not going to do that, then I would watch the specific niacin, flush niacin articles on the live stream as much as you can. So, Baptized in Fire said MSG gave me narcolepsy for a few weeks. I cut back and kept going. LOL. So this is an important thing. I want to talk about this. People, so the MSG, first of all, carnivores who are carnivores like all muscle meat carnivores, and they're not doing any fiber. They're not doing anything else to help their detox. They're just eating muscle meat, and they try MSG. They seem to react badly to it. There seems to be like, if a person tends to be an anxious type, or if they're running on like tons of stress hormones, if you're an all muscle meat carnivore and you're not taking in carbohydrates, or you're a keto person, you're not taking any carbohydrates, your body is making carbohydrates out of your proteins and fats, and it's using stress hormones to do it. So you're high stress hormones. No one's going to tell me any different. MSG then seems to, in people who are on high stress hormones. So if you're a really anxious person, you're really wound tight, or you're like an all muscle meat or keto person, those are the situations. So what it's doing, I don't know what the MSG is doing to your anxiety, but it's affecting your system in a way that it's trying to calm it down. It's trying to, glutamate affects the vagus nerve. It's trying to calm you down, and your system is reacting to it in some like paradoxical way. If you're going to do it, first of all, if you're an all muscle meat carnivore and you do nothing else, that's not the Love Your Liver program. Like, you need to figure out some binders and get yourself pooping better. Okay. Because I saw one carnivore on Twitter who said he had perfect digestion. He ate one meal a day of meat and he only pooped once every 5 days. And I was like, that's an interesting perfect digestion thing. Anyway, so if you run on stress hormones, like you're an anxious type, or like you're on super low carbs or no carbs, the MSG may not get along with you. And it's not the MSG's fault. It's the fact you're running on stress hormones. So like with Baptized in Fire, he took MSG and it made him like narcoleptic. So it probably turned down his stress hormones, got his vagus nerve going. He starts getting like narcoleptic, and then he kept going. And I'm assuming you're out of it now, Baptized in Fire. I think, didn't you say you were doing really well on it? So let's see. I think we're going to wrap it up here real quick. Just Andy said, the more I listen to this program, the more I wonder how I'm still alive. Okay, let me just hit on that. Humans are extremely resilient. It's amazing how much crap we can put ourselves through and how much crap the bad guys are throwing at us. Just think of how much they try to poison us, and we're still here. Humans are extremely resilient. Abusing that, whether we realize it or not, is how we get messed up. Okay? So, yes, it's amazing how we can poison ourselves so much. Like they poison rats and mice and they die literally. And we just keep going, and we're like, oh, we got nausea and GERD and diarrhea, and we keep going. So yeah, it's absolutely amazing. So let's see. I think let me see. Oh, the most beautiful buzzkill said the sun rays are feeling intense. I've noticed the solar storms, flashes, effects, changes in detox processing. Enjoy being outside at the moment. Beautiful autumn weather. Yeah. The sun, if you haven't noticed, the sun's intensity is crazy high, crazy strong. Like when I was a kid, like you went from the shade to the sun, and it was hotter in the sun, but it didn't feel like your skin was like baking from the sun rays. And now it's absolutely that way. You go from the shade to the sun, and it's like, ugh, that's hot. So yeah, the sun is extremely intense. Do we still need it? Yes. The key thing with sun exposure or UV exposure is, if you feel worse after it, you did too much. If you're noticing skin changes, like, sun damage type changes, you're doing too much, and you're probably still too toxic for that much sun. And then if you feel terrible, then that's just another thing. So when you're still recovering your health, don't overdo the sun or the UV. It's better to underdo it at the start than to overdo it. I had a cool thing. I used to be the pale guy who would get burned, at everything. And I took my son to a pistol class, his first gun class, this last Saturday. And we were both out in the sun. I was out in the sun, for 8 hours. And I should have been absolutely fried. I'd had a baseball hat on, so my neck should have just been crispy fried if it was the old me. And now I didn't get burned at all. So if you're burning in the sun, you're toxic. The two big things that seem to cause it for people, vitamin A and PUFAs. One of the ways you store vitamin A is binding it to fatty acid esters like PUFAs. So, yeah. So you remove those things from your diet and they clear out of your skin, especially if you take flush niacin. And then flush niacin helps clear it out. The flush is the detox of your skin. That is the flush. It is detoxing your skin. So if you do that long enough, and if you get a sunburn, try taking some flush niacin or Kelsey's zinc plus niacin salve, which, don't email Julie. I'm not giving you a date. I don't know the shipping right now, but it's coming. It's on its way. So it will be back in the store. I'll announce it here. I'll announce it on YouTube and social media when the zinc and niacin salve is back. We improved the formula along the way, so it will be back. It's better, rubs in easier, a little less gritty from the zinc nicotinate because we just made the formula better. So that'll be out soon. We're very excited for that. And then, other exciting things are happening. So anyway, I got to get to the inner circle now. So that's inside the Love Your Liver program. That's another Q&A that I do after this, where it's an extra fee for it, but I can be a little more controversial and answer things the way I'd really like to that I can't do here. So anyway, Joe, we can start rolling those things. So my past live streams, if you want to see my past live streams, click on the videos, the live tab on the main YouTube page. The other thing you can do is if you can't find a live stream number on the live tab, it's going to be under the videos tab. So if you can't find it, there's only one live stream that is not on YouTube, and that's on Rumble. You can find the unedited videos on Rumble. You can find all the one that's missing from YouTube on Rumble. So there's the Rumble channel. Yeah, they always get up there about a day or two later. X.com, Twitter, I talked about that today. It's becoming a slum. They made it so you can't put links there. So it's just people talking at each other. It's terrible. Anyway, nutritiondetective.com is our main website. That's where you can find our supplements. That's where you can find the shop. It's where you can find the VIP store for the Love Your Liver members who get a discount. It's where you can find the consultations with our health facilitators, and you can get working on hair testing and blood testing. And so that's where you can find all the stuff. We have exciting changes coming there soon. Then we have the Love Your Liver program. You can find the Love Your Liver program on the main page, nutritiondetective.com. If you click on membership, and then it'll take you to this page, which this page is members.nutritiondetective.com. This is the do-it-yourself, DIY Love Your Liver program. This is my life's work. When you hear people saying LYL, this is what they're talking about. Some of them are working with our facilitators. Many of them are not. So if you want to find it, and if you want to get the fire hose of information instead of having to watch hours and hours and hours and hours of the live stream, this is where you go. And if you want to have a community to talk about this stuff where people don't think you're crazy because you're on normal internet, free public forums full of trolls and idiots, this is where you can go. If you want to work with a facilitator, that's the consultation tab on the main website. We do hair testing. We do blood testing. You get a consult. You get 6 months of support via our office hours with our different facilitators. Each facilitator has a session a week. So you have 3 opportunities a week for 6 months with each package to get help. If you aren't already a Love Your Liver member, if you do a consultation package, you get access to the Love Your Liver program as part of your package, because we need you to know the diet stuff. Facebook, this is our new Facebook page. So if you haven't liked it yet, facebook.com, the.real nutrition detective. That's that. And then, so if you're on our old one, then you want to move to the new one. Madness of Modern Nutrition is our free email course. It also signs you up for our newsletters. So if you want to know when the zinc and niacin salve comes out again, Go to madnessofmodernnutrition.com or on our main website and sign up for our newsletter. We're going to announce it there, of course. That'll be the first place that hears about it. Okay. This is my the link I posted about triglycerides and vitamin A. This is from this website, nutritionrestored.com/blog-forum. The plan is I'm going to start turning that site into blog posts on my normal website and into Substacks. So we'll put it both places. But that's where you can find a lot of the old information I wrote about years ago when I first started this whole journey. What's next, Joe? Is that it? Oh, yeah. Then we got the GLASP study. So the highlights you saw today during the show. If you go to this glasp.co and then all that stuff, that's where if you wanted to search for, I don't know, black seed oil or Nigella sativa, you can go to that GLASP page and you can type it in there and it will give you every single website link with the highlights that you saw highlighted today. You could go in there and type methylene blue. You can go in there and type retinoic acid. You can go and find all the highlights that I've made. It keeps them all there. So that's a fun little place. And then this is my Substack, drgarrettsmith.substack.com. I wrote a big 6 article series here about Grant Genereux's recent, Are Supplements Ruining the Low Vitamin A Diet? I wrote a rebuttal there, and we're putting up articles there regularly. There's going to be more meatier articles coming out, my kind of style with lots of references soon. And like I said, I'm going to be turning that other website into Substacks and blogs. So this is Love Your Liver live stream number 221. We haven't missed a week in over 4 years on black seed oil. It's basically hormone replacement therapy. Probably have the same phytoestrogen problems that soy does. It's all part of the infertility PSYOPS. Don't fall for it, especially men. Don't take estrogen hormones from plants. It doesn't matter where they come from. And as we talked about, it may not show up on your liver labs and it may not change your hormone levels on a test, but it's causing changes. So that's the scariest thing, the silent problems. So anyway, that's everything. Thank you all for joining me. I will see you all next time. Have a great week. Bye now.